Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I'm going to discuss with you guys and gals something that's probably a bit of a controversial subject, but it needs to be said, because we're having these conversations about how to make America healthy again. It's become a political topic, it's become a social topic, a big part of obviously this last election. And here's the thing, I'm going to state up front what RFK is getting wrong is this discussion of, well, we need to ban high fructose corn syrup specifically, but then no restrictions on sucrose, which is table sugar. And the problem with this is that will not do anything. I've had people who are like, well, no. I mean, it's babies. It's a step in the right direction. But it's not. A step in the right direction wouldn't be, okay, so I have $100,000 in debt. So let me pay 10,000 of it off and the exact same day take out a loan for 10 grand. You see what I mean? People say, well, see, that's a step in the right direction. Well, no, not really. Because you're just going to replace it with the table sugar. And you get people who are like, well, but it's worse. But it's not. Objectively speaking, it isn't worse. They are both equally bad. Right? And I'll go so far as to say that on the health end, the health negatives, honey is equally bad. It is a refined sugar. On the health negatives, now honey has a few health positives that get added to the mix. But it's kind of like, so if we were to take rat poison and add vitamin C to it, see where I'm about to go? We would be like, well, see, it's healthy because it's got vitamin C added. It's like, well, no, it's still rat poison. But yeah, you're right, the vitamin C and it's healthy. So look at honey in that same way. It's still a refined fructose. As far as our bloodstream and everything are concerned, that refined fructose is no different from the table sugar or the high fructose corn syrup. But I digress, back over to the point. This is not a solution because we know that refined fructose, and we'll just call it, let's quit saying sugar. I hate it when people say that because it creates confusions. They think that anything that's a sugar is a problem. Oh, this milk sugar, this Greek yogurt, whatever. Right? This piece of cantaloupe, it's sugar. Well, no, we only care about specifically refined fructose. That's really when we're discussing the sugar thing, that is our concern. That is what we are concerned with medically, nutritionally, all this other stuff from the effects on the liver, right? This is what we're looking at. We're looking at the metabolic dysfunction that it creates. Like, again, we're not talking about, well, fast absorbing some blood sugar and insulin response. No, that's actually not what we care about, okay? Because if you were to make that argument, you wouldn't be able to protein load or even eat different types of carbohydrates that we handle really, really well, right? Like, no one in countries that eat huge amounts of white rice have these same problems. Even though you're getting a large influx of glucose and insulin. They don't have the same metabolic dysfunctions that are being created by the refined fructose. Okay, so it's the refined fructose that make other carbohydrates become a problem due to the metabolic dysfunction they create. The impact on the liver, the extra triglycerides, the fatty liver, the insulin resistance, all this stuff. This is our problem. And this comes from an excessive amount of fructose reaching the bloodstream too quickly that doesn't get handled by the gut biome. So again, understand the difference. Understand the difference. So when we're looking at it from this perspective, yeah, this is what we're concerned with because this will resolve a large chunk of our obesity issues. I know people are like, but it is about calories. But the calories are impacted by metabolic dysfunction. They're affected by our appetite, our energy levels, our capacity to overeat. They're affected by, again, insulin sensitivity. All right, the refined fructose is creating metabolic dysfunction that's going to make us overeat the other garbage more. It's going to predispose us towards diabetes, predispose us towards cancers. All right, this is enormous. Like, I'm going to go up there and say, out of all the things we're consuming in large amounts as a society, barring alcohol, which is an obvious poison, but we're also not giving alcohol to 5-year-olds at school, okay? No one's giving their 5-year-old a bottle of tequila, so this is kind of a moot argument. So we go over to what the real issue, top of the list for me, I'm going to say all the refined sugars. But here's the problem. There's no difference. All right, people can argue all the time. They'll make arguments. well, the high fructose corn syrup has a hair more fructose, therefore it's worse, or it's more refined. Okay, and those are cute theories, but we're arguing philosophy. We're not arguing data. The data shows that sucrose, table sugar, regular sugar, is equally as bad as high fructose corn syrup from a practical, measurable perspective. Okay, do we understand that? Now, when you say that, people get upset because people don't have the ability to think logically. They're like, so you're saying high fructose corn syrup isn't that bad? No, it's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it is that bad. What I'm saying is you're downplaying the table sugar by thinking it's not as bad when it actually is. So people need to understand that difference, right? It's literally like saying, all right, so we've got crack with red dye and with blue dye, and the blue dye is way worse. And that's what they've been saying. And I go, no, guys, the crack with the red dye is just as bad as the blue. So you're saying the blue dye crack isn't that bad. Well, no, I'm saying they're both crack and they have the same effect on the body. Maybe they're made in a different plant with a different dye, but the effect is the same. And that is what we see in the lab. The effect on insulin response, the effect on inflammation, they are virtually identical. They're virtually identical. In fact, the minor difference in high fructose's fructose content becomes irrelevant in the context of a sweetener because it's also sweeter, so you use slightly less to get the same amount of sweetness. So on the sweetness scale, the amount of fructose loaded per unit of sweetness is actually worse on the table sugar. So if we're going to talk absolutes, from a practical perspective, it might actually be worse. In theory, the high fructose corn syrup is slightly worse on paper in a vacuum. Practically speaking, from a sweetening perspective, technically the table sugar is going to be worse because you'll use more to get the same taste. Now, from a measurable perspective, when it's studied in the lab, they're pretty much the same. So really, all these things need to go. This is our problem. We get rid of this. We take this off the shelves, or at the very least, you can't feed it to children. Make it illegal to give to children. Say, okay, you're a free adult, just like you can drink alcohol, you can have table sugar. You give it to your kids, you go to jail. Maybe that's the way we need to go. I personally support just getting it off the shelves, right? I'd say treat it just like cocaine, right? Go to jail. Can't have it. Can't give this to human beings outside of a clinical laboratory setting. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.